struggles, disappointments, frustrations, sadness, emptiness, loss of hope. Whitney, I read somewhere that in 2019 was one of the toughest years of your life, and you were having thoughts that you didn't think that you would have.
Yeah.
Why was that year so tough? What made it so tough? And how did you get to those thoughts?
When I left Chula Vista, I moved to Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh, I know where that is.
So my coach was released from the training center, so was no longer coaching. My whole training group pretty much disbanded. So I was last Mohicans. And I tried to like tough it out for a year by myself. So I did stay after he left, and it was horrible. I said, oh, no, this self-coaching thing is not for everybody. Whoever does it, kudos to you. It is not for the weak. And especially someone who's like overly analytical. Like I needed someone there to bring me down, and I was just always on 10. And so I was always super tight, and that's another story. But so I said, you know what? Let me make some phone calls and think about people I've trained with or have traveled with on the circuit and who I'd just be a good fit with, and if they'd have me. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, I know a guy, and his name was Mason Finley. We had the same agent at the time, just a joy to be around. And I actually loved his technique. It was very different. And so I reached out to him first before I reached out to his coach out of respect. Because I go, if the coach will take me in, but Mason doesn't like me, it's not going to be a good group atmosphere. So I said, Mason, hey, I know that you know me from the circuit. We've been a couple meets together. Would you be interested in training together? He says, heck yeah. Like he felt the same way about me. You're good energy. You're good people. I've never had any issues with you. Good memories only. Like, let me talk to my coach. We all kind of get on a quick call, I believe, at the time. And I said, hey, can I come visit? Let me just see if I can even do this, because we're talking the Midwest, like a California girl to the middle of nowhere.
It's cold.
Doesn't really sound like the best of ideas. And I got out there and I go, it's small, but who cares? I'm here for a dream. I can do this. And so I think after I flew there, I went back home, and in 7 days, sold everything I had, whatever made it in my car and in a small little shipping container. And I was out of there. I moved to Lawrence, Kansas. I drove with my best friend at the time, 23 hours to Lawrence, Kansas. Yeah. Found an apartment and everything. And that was that. And when I got there, it was overwhelming. He completely broke down my technique, which he told me he was going to do. There's a lot of things that needed some work. And everything was just different. And I just lost my Nike sponsorship. So they cut me right after London. So moving to Lawrence, Kansas, like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure this out on what I've saved. I didn't know how I was gonna make money, but I didn't care at the time. I just need to get there. And so having to get a part-time job and figuring out the situation and training, and I was overwhelmed. I was tired. I didn't know how I was gonna make ends meet a lot of the time. And track and field, when you make prize money, you don't know when you're going to get paid. Even USATF is terrible at, compensating athletes.
I hear that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Prize money comes way later after championships. And so I just thought, I can't do this. I don't know. I don't want to be here. I just gave up. Honestly, it was just more like everything bad keeps happening to me. I just felt like I couldn't catch a break. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to remove myself from the equation. I really contemplated, dang near attempted. And I thought, let me seek help before I make literally a decision like that. It was one of those, let me get a lifeline real quick. And I remember reaching out to actually a psychologist that I had met through USATF. I don't know, at one of the world championships. I just thought of her. And I reached out to her and we spoke, and then I eventually went into therapy. But it was at that moment I thought, I need to just talk to someone who doesn't know anything about me. I just need to get this off my chest. This is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And it was a 2-year process.
Wow.
I just was released out of therapy January of this year. It was my last therapy session. So yeah, a lot of unpacking. Just a lot.
First, thank you for sharing that. Yes, I honestly think we all need therapy in some capacity.
Yeah.
But you're a person of faith, Whitney. I'm a person of faith. Where was your faith during that time?
I didn't pray. And at first, Dang it, no tears. I didn't. I just felt, so my mom always tells me, I forget the verse by heart, but make your request known to God. Right. And I just thought, you've heard me for years, right? I'm like, Lord, like, you've heard my cries. You know my fears, and you know the things that I want to achieve. And you promise prosperity. Like, I have plans to prosper you. And I go, those are lies. Those are lies. I didn't believe them anymore.
Yeah.
And so I just stopped. I go, you're not listening to me. Obviously, you don't want me to be here. Like, why do you have me continuing down this path and there's no success? At least to me, I was making teams and it wasn't enough. Like, I wasn't training just to wear a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be on the podium. I wanted to be competitive, and I just was falling short all the time. And so I just stopped praying. I didn't go to church. I didn't want to hear anything about it because I just felt he was failing me at the time. And I wasn't taking the lessons. And I don't know, I wasn't open to anything at the time.
It's I've been there so many times in my life. Even in this recent season, I'm like, yo, God, what's going on? Like, I'm not here trying to hurt anybody. I'm really just trying to trust and believe that you're putting me in this position. Like, I'm moving in purpose. Like, why are you making everything so much friction?
Yeah.
And you be getting frustrated. You be getting annoyed because you're not trying to harm anybody. You're just trying to move in where you feel led to do. And what I've learned with my faith, because at some point your faith will be tested and it will get shaken. Honestly, the moment that you focus more on God is the moment that you will get those tests. But for me, I'm just like, the scripture never said anything that we would not go through trials. It never promises that things are going to go sturdy. And I think when we focused our expectations on what we think our lives should look like, that is when we actually self-impose what the scripture we think it should be like. But it never says, oh, if you dedicate this for 3 weeks, you'll get results. And I think that has been one of the challenges for me. I still struggle with it. Right. And I'm trying to let go and let God. But whenever people tell me that statement, I'm like, don't tell me that. Tell me practically. I don't want none of this. I need practical steps. Yeah. But when and it's one of those situations for me where I just try and hold on to certain scriptures that help me. And even in the moments where I don't feel like praying, and I say this all the time, this is what has helped me. When you don't feel like praying or don't know what to say, just give thanks. Because I think a lot of times, even if God doesn't help us in our situation, he wants to see if we're still going to come to him. Are we still going to come to him, or are we just going to use him when things are going well? And it's the biggest challenge for me, because in our situation, we often forget it. We're humans, right? So I resonate with everything that you said. I know a lot of people will as well too. So thank you for sharing that, Whitney.